We're being played, friends. We are being constantly played. Good morning, good day, wherever you are. This is my message, my last message from Leighton Hall. We leave today. I didn't think I'd make another one before I left, but this morning I've become exercised by the rising antagonism that I see or sense and feel with regards to the recent race baiting death of George Floyd. And I'm amazed by how people who are long in the tooth of looking at research, who accept that the entire theatre of 9/11, the massive story that was believed by most people who know that that was staged, are willing to throw away reason when it comes to looking at a relatively much smaller drama. No one likes the loss of life. No one likes brutality. No one likes racism. No one likes to be played. But we are being played. We're being offered two sides of a coin, and people's trauma is being triggered to get them to choose a side of the coin. I am suggesting we should be seeking the side of the coin, the part of the coin that rolls, not the part of the coin, the flat side, that has to flip-flop between the face, the tail, or the head. In the middle, in the heart, in the center, in the earth, that's where we find ether. Ether is earth, with an extra E, and breath is earth, with an extra B. So I think about the coronavirus and why it's triggered people so much, because the coronavirus threatens to take your breath, and breath is life. Your breath is the essence. Our ability to draw ether is the primary essence of life here. So this virus has triggered people so much because we love life, we want to live, and we fear a lack of breath. And guess what? It was a lack of breath that is meant to have killed this chap George. I think there are no special case victims here, you know. I mean, we could all look at various moments in history and say, oh, it targeted this group unfairly or that group unfairly. Particularly thinking of World War I and World War II, which had a devastating effect particularly on Europe, you know. But it's interesting because we've all been given areas of fear, vaccines, racism, and liberty. And these are things that are all being pressed. Your liberty is being taken from you. Your breath, your air, your ether may be taken from you. Your freedom may be taken from you. And by people who are hell-bent on ending your time here, or controlling you. much of this may be true. Much may be that there is this intention to enslave and to. But then this has always been the story. It's not new. We are generations, centuries into our enslavement in this game. So we can't really start petitioning the same enslaving entity. We fear losing our home. We fear all of these things, and in order to keep the roof over our heads, we must behave. We must be good. We must follow the rules. None of them really are natural rules. They're unnatural, man-made rules. But people are trying to shoehorn themselves into one of these one way or another. I'm trying to seek my calm, my zen. I have my own pressure points, as everybody else does. I don't have to fear losing my home. It's 9 months today since we became homeless. But, there's plenty of points of instability that I'm having to work through in order to stay in the center, to stay in the heart, the green energy. And this system is so cleverly winding people up. The demand for people to go out and protest what's gone on and the horrors of this world, and then to be met by violence from the state apparatus. It's not designed to allow you time to spend in the heart, in the balance, in the center. It's designed to keep you, to pull you apart, pull us apart, pull humanity apart. So it's important, I think, imperative that we find ways to meditate and balance ourselves through this. I said the other day in a comment to Bro Sanchez, who's someone whose mind I've gained so much from, but who seems to be triggered by his own built-in trauma, that we shouldn't play. We should take that center point. And a comment I got back, not from him but from someone else, was that to not play is to play is essentially just playing anyway. And I don't think, honey, I'm just going to walk around the front, come with me. I don't think, well, I say this is the front of the building, by the way, the original front of the building.
I'm not going to come with you. I'm going to
smell the roses?
Yeah. Just say good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. So,
peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not, it's not about, you see, the two sides is either to go out and fight or stay out in fear and go along and so on. That's the last thing that I would be encouraging people to do. You've got to obviously do what works for you, and there's no judgment or right or wrong answer about this, but my encouragement is that this game is just finding your pressure point, and it's certainly been finding mine. And the more you're invested in outcomes, the more you're invested in your home, your business, your race, your religion, the more you're going to feel the need to hunker down or go and fight on behalf of. And I'm not for a second saying that humanity shouldn't find the higher way, the better way, and work its way through this, but they've cleverly created all these traumas within each of us, and those are being exploited to get us to flip-flop one side of the coin or another. This is the alleged front face of Letton Hall, but as I said in my earlier videos, I think this is the side of the building. Anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole. Wouldn't we love to know our true history? I certainly am fascinated by it. And perhaps someday we will know all of this. But if you exhaust yourself, as some of my good friends in the mud flood community and others do, flat earth, it doesn't matter, you're outside of that. And this morning I started, I came out into this beautiful garden about 6 o'clock and sought to meditate or just draw in this beautiful country air, the smell of the sheep coming off the field, and how lovely that was. And then Andrea started talking to me about how some of the spiritual leaders that she listens to are all being pulled into the white shame or the white guilt and the black subjugation conversation. And again, these are just traumas that people have been given. You should feel guilty because your government, before you were born, did a certain thing. Well, it's not your government. Certainly not mine. And I certainly never consented to those things. Yes, as a youngster, I was brainwashed into believing that the communists were coming to get us and that we had to shore up our ill-gotten white advantage and privilege, all of that. But I went through it. I faced that war, literally faced that war. And so I know from first-hand experience. And felt guilt. And felt shame. But it becomes important to reconcile with that, and reconcile with the idea that the knowledge that you have, that the ideas that you were given were not your own. They were part of a cultural malaise, a cultural misleading, a societal kind of program that had you take on a mantle of white, Muslim, American, Union Jack, all of these things. In order to take the middle path, in order to be the rim of the coin, the smooth rim of the coin, you have to realize that those things are not you. They are ideas impregnated, fears impregnated into you. They demean you. They demean humanity. So am I going to be the best example to Alexander, Jessica and Luke, my children, by wearing a mask? This mask of a symbol of subjugation, a symbol of silence, a symbol of a reduction of ether. Am I going to wear that? Or am I going to sit in front of the TV and go, oh, this and bad that, and oh, what's going to happen next, and so on? No, neither of those two scenarios are healthy, and neither of those two scenarios get me and them, more importantly, to a more loving heart, to a more beautiful place. So if you are being triggered by fear, by racial tension, guilt, etc., I suggest there's a trauma that still needs to be worked through. And please find a way to work through it for yourself. Don't demand that the system change, because it will never change while we carry all these traumas. We will always continue to antagonize. Here in England, because you may know I didn't grow up in England despite being born here. When I came back as a 25-year-old man, or when I was a bit younger, I travelled here too. I discovered that the English really dislike the Irish, and they particularly dislike the Germans. Why? Well, they've been traumatized by 2 world wars, by particular Irish conflagrations, by the Catholic Protestant conflagration. They've been traumatized, so they can't, or they are held in that soup. It's a local soup. It's one that doesn't apply to other parts of the world. And well, you can go to South Africa, and again, there's different triggers, different traumas that have been wrought on those people, as in America. The idea of building a wall between 2 countries is one that very few places could get away with. But the Trump lovers all bang that drum, or were banging that drum. For example, East Germany, West Germany, how did they manage to do that? They traumatized people with 2 wars, with the Russians, the Reds, the Communists, and now they're going to do it with the Chinese, probably. And I saw a comment someone made the other day, oh, all Europeans out of America, trauma, getting us to hate God, God's creation, this creation, ourselves. We no longer, those traumas have been pressed so that we no longer love each other and care for one another, no matter the way we look or the place we live. So I hope this is a useful message, and one that reminds you that earth, breath, ether, all of these things are central to who and what we are. Investing in the man-made machines, systems, fears of vaccines, fears of chips, and all those sort of thing, is designed to make us angry. It's designed to have us in a lower state of vibration. And for those that are so fearful to go and meditate themselves into some higher state in which they no longer have to participate in any way, my participation is to continue to seek that place of harmony, in which I can be in harmony with nature and use that harmony to spread love to the creation, to humanity. In this way, I hope to be able to contribute the best that I can. Would I like to deliver a speech in public, using a bullhorn and telling people this message of love? Yes. And when the opportunity arises, you can be sure that I will be taking it. But to go and demand, as Piers Corbyn is doing, that things do different, the system does different for us and so on, is to give them their this ill-gotten authority. Authority starts with the letters AU, which is the periodic table symbol for gold. You are gold, and you've given away your gold to this ill-gotten authority, whether you hate it or love it or go along with it. You're giving your authority, giving your gold away. Retain your gold, dear friends. Retain your gold. Return to love, heart, center, earthing, natural ways of living. But if you want to hang on to your man-made systems, then of course that's your choice. That's your free will. But do that with an open mind, with a clear insight as to the nature of this thing. But they've given you trinkets, they've given you trappings so as to ensure your participation. Find your way to heart freedom and love. Because at the end of that rainbow is gold. I've always loved humanity. I love nature. I'm the kind of guy who would pick out an insect from the shower so that it didn't get washed away. And as anyone who's read my book will know that as a child I would cry if my sisters killed ants. So I care about this place. And I care about you. I care about humanity. And I care about my family, of which we're all part. There is only one family, there's only one creation, maybe many tribes, but it's really one creation in my view. So I'll leave you with that for today. It takes hours for these videos to upload here. I just I hope you find your way to balancing what's coming at you from the media. I'm sure there's more to come. Stay wise like the serpent, gentle as a dove. Peace.